This video is about two fundamental things you must do to be compliant with the Data Protection Act, and they are registering with the ICO and having a list of your data processing activities. Question 1.1.1 asks for your ICO or Information Commissioner's Office registration number. Virtually all organisations that process personal data need to be registered with the ICO. This includes social care providers. And you may have already done that, and if so, great, and write your registration number here. They usually start with a Z, for instance. Z 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And click Save. But if you haven't registered, you really should do that as a matter of urgency, and you can register on this first link here in the question. And if you're not sure whether your organisation is registered, you can use this second link here to check. It takes you to an organisational search, and this will tell you if you're registered or not, and if so, what your registration number is, and when your current registration is due to expire. So you have to re-register every year. There's a small charge for registration, which is calculated according to the size of your organisation. And for small organisations, it's typically something like £40 to £60, but it's well worth it because you could be fined if you don't register. Now, question 1.1.2 asks whether your organisation has a list of the ways in which it holds and shares the different types of personal and sensitive information that you have. This is really important because to be compliant with data protection law, your organisation must have a list or lists of all of those different ways that your organisation stores, shares and receives personal data. This could be one list or two. And usually these are called an Information Asset Register or IAR and a Record of Processing Activities or ROPA. And an Information Asset Register should detail where and how your data is held and how you keep it safe. And that includes all of the digital and physical places where personal and sensitive information is stored. And you should also have a list of the types of personal data that are received from or shared with others, and that's your record of processing activities. And that should have information about how their data is shared, under what legal basis you process it, and how your organisation keeps it safe. Now, you can combine those into one document. There is some overlap, but it's fine to have two separate documents. It's a kind of matter of personal choice. There are different templates available. Some people like spreadsheets, other Word documents, and so on. But you must have this list or lists for all the data that you hold, receive, or send on a regular basis. Now, there's a link in the tooltip here to the Digital Care Hub. This takes you to a number of resources about documenting your data processing. Now, the first one here is quite detailed guidance on how to document your data processing. I've got it open here. And if this is new to you and you don't know what I'm talking about when I say the legal basis under which your information is shared, then I'd suggest you read this. It breaks it down step by step, tells you what you have to do and explains about legal bases, etc. And once you've read that, or if you do know a bit more, then you can move on to completing your Information Asset Register and your ROPA. And these aren't really difficult to get in place, but the first time you do it, they can take a bit of time to work through if you don't have them already. And once you've already got them, it's much quicker to review them every year. And this is what the question in the tooltip asks you to do. It's confirm that you have these lists and that they've been reviewed and approved by owner or senior management team in your organisation within the last 12 months. So we have these templates here. I would just demonstrate one that I've already got open. So this is the record of processing activities. You can see this one's partly filled out on this template. And my advice here is don't be too granular with the types of information. Think about whole groups of information. So this example here says employee data. This is all of your staff records. And the sorts of information that you need to fill out is this information being transferred out of the organisation? How? Why? What's the legal basis? Carry on to the right. How do you ensure its security? And how long are you going to keep it for? Now, there's a note here to remind you that that should match your records retention schedule, which is one of the other questions in the toolkit. So to complete your record of processing activities, you need to think about all the different types of information that you have and to complete this or a similar template. There's a template here for your information asset register, which does the same thing. This is all your information though, not just that that's transferred in and out the organisation. And again, think big picture, such as your care planning system here. And that should say, what are the risks? What security measures do you have in place, whether it's special category data or not? And you could also use it if it's an information system to make a link of the list of all of your suppliers, which is question 10.1.2 that you need for another question in the toolkit. So once you've done that and you have those documents or document in place, you need to either upload them here or specify where they are if they're on your intranet or an internet link, or you could enter text describing where those documents are located, which is what I'm going to demonstrate here. So you could say that your IAR and Europa are saved if you, let's imagine that you have a D drive, and that's information governance files and whatever else it's called. Maybe you've got something called ROPA and describe it. You could also write some comments here in the options box to record any useful information. And the most useful thing probably is to put the date in when they were last reviewed so that you know when to go back in a year's time and review them again. Once you've done that, you can click Save.